Much to the chagrin of bad faith anti-democratic Republicans, Pennsylvania, under the leadership of Democratic Governor Josh Shapiro, formally introduced automatic voter registration, which will likely increase voter turnout in subsequent elections. But before we unpack all that, if you haven't yet, please hit that like, subscribe, and the alert bell. Maybe check out my Patreon. I'd appreciate the support. All right, folks, so this is a huge deal for the constituents of Pennsylvania and perhaps by ripple effect, the rest of the country. So about 24 states in the United States have automatic voter registration, which is when, again, an American citizen becomes 18, they're automatically registered to vote. It's done for you, usually at the DMV, for example, and then you can pick which party affiliation you want, but it's done for you. Now, you can choose to opt out, right? If for whatever reason you don't want to indulge in your civic duty to vote, you can opt out, but it switches the burden. Instead of having to go out of your way to register to vote, you have to go out of your way to not be registered, okay? So it shifts the burden somewhat, which will very likely increase eligible voter turnout. Now, of the 23, 24, 25 states that do this, most of them are Democratic, right? Very few Republican states engage in automatic voter registration, which begs the question, why? Well, if you're curious, I want to play this clip from Donald Trump when he was the sitting president back in 2020. This is what he had to say on the issue of increased voter turnout.
I will tell you this. If you look at before and after, the things they had in there were crazy. They had things, levels of voting that if you ever agreed to it, you'd never have a Republican elected in this country again.
So right there, he gives the game away. Very blunt, a rare moment of honesty from Donald Trump because he doesn't have a filter, okay? The Republican Party is convinced that if you increase eligible voter turnout, they will not win elections, and therefore they have an incentive to keep voter turnout as small as possible. Therefore, making it harder, and certainly making it not automatic, to be registered to vote is a very good way to do that, okay? There's also this great article in the Washington Post from a few years ago. The GOP's increasingly blunt argument, it needs voting restrictions to win. And this article cites a number of Republican officials, state officials, national officials. The chairman of the Republican Party in Florida said that it's done for one reason and one reason only. We've got to cut down on early voting because early voting is not good for us. Again, Donald Trump said what he said. Georgia House Speaker David Ralston said that expanded mail balloting in Georgia would be extremely devastating to Republicans. If Republicans don't challenge and change the U.S. election system, there will never be another Republican president elected again, said Lindsey Graham. Matt Gaetz said, if we accept this universal mail-out balloting to people who didn't even request ballots, I don't think Republicans will ever win another national election again. A Republican Party attorney in Arizona said when he was talking about litigating in front of the Supreme Court, and I've actually referenced this in previous videos, when asked why he takes issue with, legislation which will increase voter turnout. This is what he says: because it puts us, the Republican Party, at a competitive disadvantage relative to Democrats. Politics is a zero-sum game, and every extra vote they get hurts us. It's the difference between winning an election of 50 to 49 and losing an election 51 to 50. All right, folks, so this is what the Republican Party does. It's very cynical. So with that in mind, setting the stage for that, what Pennsylvania is doing here is really, really good, okay? It's good for democracy, and also, ironically, I kind of reject the idea that Republicans still wouldn't be competitive. The problem is right now they're not incentivized to try to win voters over. They're just trying to rig the game in their favor because the rules and the landscape favor them. If the rules didn't favor them and they were fair and neutral rules, then maybe the Republican Party would work to moderate their rhetoric and actually campaign on a policy agenda, which would encourage voters to turn to them. Anyway, I want to play this clip from Governor Shapiro of Pennsylvania. This is him announcing this automatic voter registration platform.
Pennsylvania, it is National Voter Registration Day, and today I am proud to announce that for the first time ever, Pennsylvania is an automatic voter registration state. That's right. From now on, when you get or renew your driver's license or an ID card at the DMV, you'll be registered to vote unless you choose not to. I made a commitment when I was campaigning for this office that we would bring automatic voter registration in Pennsylvania and break down the barriers for legal, eligible voters. This is a key step to make our elections more secure, adding important levels of verification to the voter registration process. And by expanding voter registration at our DMVs, we'll save taxpayers time and money, reduce the number of costly paper registrations, and streamline voter registration for Pennsylvanians. Look, this is common sense. You already provide proof of identity, residency, age, and citizenship at the DMV. All the information you need to register to vote. We're making our state government work better for the good people of Pennsylvania. No matter who you choose to vote for or what your views are, I hope you'll make your voice heard. Now more than ever, we need an engaged citizenry to move our country and our Commonwealth forward.
Well said, Governor Shapiro. This is really good news, and he preempts two bad faith criticisms or complaints from the opposition. Number one, all people will say, well, if you do it at the DMV, then non-citizens are going to be registered to vote. But again, it's not true. As he points out in that video, proof of citizenship and all these things are gathered at the DMV in the first place. So all the information is there. It's a one-to-one. They're just taking that extra step of automatically allowing you to vote, number one. Number two, as he says, it doesn't matter who you vote for. It doesn't matter what your political affiliation is. This is going to benefit you. And it's true, right? Even though Republicans believe that this will benefit Democrats, and it probably will in the sense that Democrats and their agenda are simply more popular. There are generally more people who align generally, and there's some exception to that, generally more people who align with Democratic politicians than Republicans. There are Republicans who will benefit this. There are Republican citizens who do not vote because of the challenges and complexities that are associated with registering to vote. By making it easier, by making it automatic to vote, there are more Republicans who will vote in subsequent elections now. That's the point, okay? And if you don't like that there are just going to be more Democrats who turn out to vote than Republicans, then again, maybe what you should do, Republicans, is moderate your rhetoric, moderate your policies, and actually try to meet voters and persuade them to back your party. Food for thought.